Funding for Schaefer-Ellis is provided by
Surfshark VPN. Tune in till the end to find out about their amazing service. So at this point, I don't think you need me to tell you that you should watch Invincible. It's amazing, 9 out of 10, would highly recommend. It has an adult Bobby Hill in it, go watch it. I'm not here to review the show, I actually wanted to talk about one key aspect of it. Omni-Man. By the way, seriously, go watch it if you haven't already, because this is a big spoiler, big video of spoilers. Everything will be spoiled. I'm gonna spoil Rexplode's credit card number, including the expiration date and the 3 wacky digits on the back. I feel like that's less of an invasion of his privacy than what Robot did after all. Anyway, yes, spoilers, so don't watch this video if you haven't watched the show, because this show is incredible, and watch it and stuff. I like these spoiler-filled videos because I don't have to waste time explaining the plot and the characters, since I can assume you've already seen the show. That's nice. So yeah, Omni-Man is pretty evil and stuff. He brutally kills the Guardians of the Globe in the first episode of the show, which sets the tone for both his character and the show in general. It's such an effective and visceral sequence to hook the audience with, and I spent the rest of the series in constant fear of what he was gonna do next. And by the end of the series, it really got me thinking. Omni-Man is a twist villain. There's no getting around that. And as someone who has quite a history of not liking how a certain pair of animation studios handles twist villains, I think it's worth discussing why exactly Omni-Man was so effective for me. Because effective is kind of an understatement. This might be one of the best twist villains I've ever seen. And it's more than worth it to delve into why that is. For starters, I think I should establish that I actually like the concept of twist villains generally. I think it's neat to have a character lie to the other characters, and usually the audience as well, about their true ambitions. It makes rewatching the piece of media more enticing since you go in knowing the secret this time. The only thing is, the twist villain's motivation should line up and make sense, and they should be given ample time to be evil, so that we as an audience can better adjust to their true antagonistic side. This is something that Disney consistently failed at, on top of reusing the concept of a twist villain over and over. I think the reuse is the most egregious crime Disney committed with their infamous twist villain trio that I've talked about before. But when taking all 3 of these villains in a vacuum, the biggest problem with them is the lack of screen time for their villainous sides. They become just another third act obstacle for the heroes to overcome, not a legitimately menacing presence. Would they be better if the audience was clued into the fact that they were evil ahead of time?
That was his mistake!
Yes, definitely, absolutely. The primary goal with twist villains should be tricking the characters, not necessarily tricking the audience. If you can do both and still make for a memorable antagonist, then by all means go for it. But it feels like these characters were primarily written as a gotcha for the audience members. But if we knew ahead of time that Hans or Bellwether was evil, then we'd be far more invested in the potential danger that could result from our main characters interacting with them. If we knew Anna wanted to marry an evil sociopath, it would really ramp up the tension going into the third act. And it's not like Disney hasn't revealed a twist villain to the audience early before. Look at John Silver from Treasure Planet. One of their best and most layered characters because we get to see his inner turmoil and reluctance to betray Jim Hawkins. He feels like a real person, not a cartoon villain that flips on a dime to become evil because it's time for there to be a villain. And we're gonna bring John Silver back later, don't you worry. Okay, so why am I talking about these same fucking Disney twist villains for the billionth time? Well, dear viewer, that's because Omni-Man is the exact opposite of these twist villains. They get everything right with his character, and it's absolutely remarkable. First of all, yeah, he's established pretty early on as a villain. The end of the first episode really is the perfect time for this reveal, not only as an enticing hook to watch the rest of the series, but to see where his character goes. We just watched an episode that paints him as kind of a cold and distant person, both when he's saving the day and not getting along with the Guardians that well, and when he's not the most supportive of his son. He can raise his voice and get antagonistic, but I'm sure beneath it all, he's a pretty nice guy. Oh my god! This reveal is earth-shatteringly brutal, and it raises the stakes and tension throughout the entirety of the rest of the season. Knowing this guy's a brutal murderer makes you concerned for the safety of everyone around him, and it also makes you wonder which characters are going to find out first and how they're going to react. The investigations conducted by Damien, Darkblood, Cecil, and especially Debbie are incredibly nerve-wracking since we know what Omni-Man is capable of. But there's another layer to this reveal that gives Omni-Man as a twist villain the best of both worlds. The motivation. Why did he kill the Guardians of the Globe? It's still an ongoing mystery throughout the rest of the season, with only a couple hints here and there to keep us wondering. I love when he tells the Flaxons Earth isn't yours to conquer. The vagueness of the line and the way J.K. Simmons delivers it makes you question if this is his way of saying Earth is mine to conquer without him outright stating it. That's probably what he means by this line, but it's just vague enough to keep you guessing about his true intentions. By the time we get to the final 2 episodes, a ton of the major characters know about Omni-Man's deception and begin mounting a defense against him, which doesn't go well, obviously. The second to last episode is so effective at escalating the threat of Omni-Man. We already know how powerful he is since he was able to kill the Guardians and pretty much everyone else in his path. But this episode showcases how nothing can truly stop him. It all builds up so perfectly to his second murder of the Immortal and his public unmasking. Omni-Man was the imposter the whole time. And so we get to the final episode, which starts with Omni-Man finally coming clean to Mark about his true goals of conquering Earth, in the hopes that Mark will join him. This moment has all the shocking benefits of a twist villain reveal, breaking the spirit and resolve of the main character, while also occurring after an entire season's worth of build-up and tension. I tried envisioning a version of the story where Omni-Man's murder of the Guardians wasn't shown to us, where we had to just wonder if he was the one who killed them all alongside the main characters. And I really don't think it would have been nearly as investing. Establishing him as a brutal maniac murderer to the audience early on, while also giving Debbie the slow realization that her husband is evil and Mark the sudden shocking revelation, it's honestly astounding how they managed to utilize so many advantages of the twist villain concept all at once. And this isn't even the end of it. Oh sweet lord no. Another common pitfall that bad twist villains fall into is not giving them ample time to be a villain. Omni-Man is an active antagonist throughout the entirety of the second to last episode and the first half of the final episode, before he flies off. I'd call that pretty ample time, especially considering this is the first season and he'll be back for more later. But honestly, it's not really how much time he gets, it's what he does with that time. One key aspect of the Guardian's murder that was really important to get right is that it couldn't be the peak of his villainy. It happens in the first episode after all. He's gotta have something much more malicious in store for the finale. But what are the odds of that happening? Yeah, I'd say the insane, brutal, careless murder of thousands of innocent civilians qualifies as a step up. The key word here being careless. Omni-Man killed the Guardians so that the Viltrumite Empire wouldn't have any opposition. It was a horrific but a purposeful murder of a handful of superpowered individuals who also nearly killed him in self-defense. This was not that. It was random, pointless mass murder, all done for the sake of trying to convince his son that the lives of human beings are meaningless. It makes what he did to the Guardians look tame by comparison. And it still manages to shock us as an audience, even though we knew he was evil beforehand. That's a pretty insane feat of writing. It's all about raising the stakes on his villainy. Not only are his actions horrible, and not only are the bloodshot eyes he got from the Immortal a great simple visual touch to indicate how evil he is, but his words escalate his maliciousness as well. Some of the moments in the finale that really stung the most was when he said Debbie's life was worthless in the grand scheme of things, and that she was basically like a pet to him. After everything we've seen between the two of them, it's just really sick and cruel. And it sticks out as such in a finale where he brutally massacres thousands of innocent people. So you know it must be pretty bad. And again, it's not like this isn't in line with his character. He's a Viltrumite, and based on what he says about their society, it makes perfect sense that this is how he really feels about Debbie. The writers didn't just pull this out of their ass. It all lines up with his character and the incredible writing they did for him. And that's the final piece of the puzzle. Despite all of this brutality, despite how insanely 100% evil Omni-Man seems to be, there's still a spark of humanity present in his character. Let's talk about that think mark scene, which probably spoiled for everyone that this guy was evil, unfortunately. But to be fair, I probably wouldn't have checked out the show if it wasn't for this meme, so good for it. It's pretty funny. So yeah, throughout their encounter, Mark is desperately trying to appeal to his father's humanity. Omni-Man admits that he was happy here for a time, and that he has some form of love for Debbie. But these aren't nearly enough to break his loyalty to Viltrum. There seems to be no evidence that his time spent among humanity gave him any sympathy for their lives whatsoever. But then we see that flashback, where he watches Mark play baseball and immerses himself in one of the simple joys of humanity. We see Debbie help him break free of his stubborn detachment from human life. We see him enjoy his son's simple success and express genuine pride. And it gives us insight into why he just can't kill his son. As much as he wants to deny it, he's attached to Mark. Not just his Viltrum side, but his human side too. And Mark's words here just break him. It's like everyone says, this is the best scene in the show because of how brutally heartbreaking it is, not just for our hero, but for our antagonist as well. He can't kill his own son. And at this moment, he doesn't know if he can conquer the planet that his son calls home, that he called home for decades. And so, he just flies off, abandoning his post, shedding a tear. Absolutely incredible. Everything about his character, the build-up, the reveal, the animation, J.K. Simmons' vocal performance, and the fact that despite how much evil the character has done, he may not be beyond redemption. There may be a spark of humanity in him after all. This all makes him feel like a real, believable person. Similarly to John Silver. See, I told you we were gonna get back to him. So yeah, Omni-Man is without a doubt one of the best twist villains I've ever seen in media. Maybe the best. The fact that the audience is clued into his true nature early on makes his character more intimidating, and his fully unhinged villainous self is still horrendously frightening and well worth the build-up. Every one of his actions, motivations, and personality traits all line up. And through it all, he remains a realistic character who reacts to his son's sacrifice and devotion to Earth in a realistic way. He's a truly phenomenal antagonist and the second scariest character J.K. Simmons has ever played. And I'm so excited to see what happens with him in the upcoming seasons. Even though I could just read the comics for that, but like, who has the time? Watch Invincible, it's incredible. Good night, tri-state area. But before I go, even though Omni-Man is kind of an evil lunatic, I'm admittedly really jealous of his ability to just fly to a different country in a matter of minutes. I can't fly to other countries in a matter of minutes. How tragic. But I can make my internet think I'm in another country. How, you may ask? Well, that's simple. All you have to do is use an incredible product that encrypts your data and protects you online. Surfshark VPN allows you to access geo-restricted content, meaning you can trick your browser into thinking you're in another country, thus allowing you to access content you couldn't get otherwise. That way, you don't have to physically travel to another country to watch that country's exclusive Netflix content, for example. You can also use Surfshark and its Surfshark Alert system to get alerts anytime your email address or password is compromised. Surfshark Alert scans various databases of leaked information and notifies its users if their data is found so they can take action, which is an absolutely invaluable feature. Surfshark is also totally unlimited, meaning you can use it on as many devices as you like, even all at the same time. No other VPN allows this. Go to surfshark.deal/Rillis and enter promo code Rillis to get 83% off and 1 extra month of Surfshark VPN for free. It's an amazing deal, and it's even better because it comes with a 30-day money-back guarantee. So if you're not satisfied, you can cancel during those 30 days and get your money back. Once again, head to surfshark.deal/Rillis and enter the promo code Rillis. Have a great time with Surfshark VPN.